What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here for the weekly sports card market update. Talking charts and graphs, talking news, recapping the week. In a busy week it was. Heavy news week this week. We had gem rate data. We had COMC CSG / CGC partnership. We had the Fanatics news with them launching, or planning to launch rather, a live streaming selling app at the beginning focused on breaking, which will launch the back half of this year. All sorts of wild and crazy stuff. I think the biggest one, the one that's going to have the most repercussions in the long term, is the Fanatics news. It's probably actually bigger news than what we're all letting on. I know there's been a billion videos about it, but that one really has the potential to shake up the landscape in the industry, depending on how that rolls out, how they make it work. How soon do we start seeing breakers signed to exclusive contracts? How all that stuff shakes out. That, to me, is the most intriguing piece of the major news that came out this week. The COMC, CSG, CGC news, we covered that as well. That, to me, is a big deal as well. But I'm intrigued to see where they go from here. Who's the next grading company to hop on board? The process to grade a card on there is smooth. I did a video for tomorrow where I bought some cards and submitted them for grading. It is extremely easy. It is very simple. I know a lot of people are going to have issues with the whole, grading a card untouched, and I get that. Trust me, I 100% do, because you can only tell so much from the scan. But for the EPAC stuff, that's where I think the most interesting angle is. And if the grading pricing gets cheap enough, where you're almost saying, F it, it's only, we're not there yet, only $10 to get this slabbed up, I'll take a shot. I think that's when it starts getting interesting as well. Obviously, we're not there quite yet with grading pricing. And like I said, we had the gem rate data this week, kind of really status quo. And, I talked about it in that video. The grading landscape kind of seems to be in status quo. We're seeing these little partnerships like the COMC thing, and that's a pretty big partnership. And then we're seeing them kind of poke around the edges with these monthly specials, kind of targeting different segments, kind of picking on each other. SGC rolls out a Pokemon deal. Oh, PSA is back with their Pokemon deal. This company does this. This other company does that. All these little around the edge case stuff. But it does seem to be that everyone's kind of settled into their current place for the time being. We'll see how things shake out. Also on the grading front, just a side note, because my order got wrecked by this ice storm that hit, Dallas and Memphis and kind of the middle parts of the country has really messed things up. Beckett was closed for a couple days. And then for those that don't know, PSA switched to FedEx for shipping, which, FedEx is not my favorite shipping company. Just more so because of all the tracking nonsense that they do. That it just completely lies to you about when your order is coming. And my order was sitting in LA for 3 days, and I wasn't the only one. There was a bunch of people sitting in LA for 3 days, just saying local delay because of the ice storm in Memphis. And it was funny. I called them on Friday on day 3 just to be like, what is going on with this? This thing shipped on Monday and it's been sitting in Memphis for 3 days. And because it's FedEx, the stupid tracking said it was going to be delivered on Friday night, even though the tracking of the package showed that it was still sitting in LA. I live in Ohio. So I'm on the phone with them and she's like, oh, it should be moving through the system pretty soon. We had the weather delay in Memphis or whatever. And she's like, actually, it's going to get delivered today. And I was like, really? I was like, didn't you just say it shows that it's in LA? And she's like, yep. Yeah, it shows it's in LA and it's scheduled for delivery today. And I was like, okay, cool. I live in Ohio. How's that going to work? And you could just tell I completely, and I wasn't mean about it or like a dick or anything, but you could just tell immediately she was like, I didn't really think about what I was saying. I am trapped. So I had a little amusing moment there with the customer service rep on the phone. Like I said, I wasn't mean about it or anything like that. It was more of so this is getting delivered today, huh? It is now moving. It's sitting in Memphis. So hopefully I get that sometime early this week so we can do the PSA reveal on that one. In the world of sports, we are in the off week between the championship games and the Super Bowls. We're going to dive in and look at some QB pricing for Hurts and Mahomes. I know we talked about Hurts a lot in yesterday's video, but I wanted to circle back to that because that video, even though it posted on Saturday, it actually been recorded a few days ago. It was initially supposed to go live on Wednesday, and then the COMC news happened, and then the Fanatics news happened, and just a bunch of nonsense. So it kept getting pushed back. So I wanted to circle back and take a look at their prices. And then in basketball, good old Kyrie Irving. This week is the NBA trade deadline. And, you know, I always joke, once we kind of get to this point of the season is kind of when the eyes turn back to the NBA. And you're already seeing it. LeBron prices are starting to creep up. I didn't pull any LeBron charts. We talked about him last week. LeBron stuff is definitely going up. And, you know, in my opinion, the Lakers are the most likely destination for a Kyrie trade. So if Kyrie goes to LA, depending on what they give up, which shouldn't be much, to be quite honest, you know, are they a favorite in the West? No, I don't think so, but they get pretty intriguing in the West. That's for damn sure. Because the West really is wide open. Listen, I love the Nuggets. They're really good. They were my preseason pick to come out of the Western Conference, and the Joker is absolutely amazing. We will talk about him a little bit towards the end of this video. But LeBron could be getting another little price bump between the scoring record, and then if Kyrie gets traded there, that could give him a little bit of a bump up. I don't expect Kyrie or AD cards to do too much. People have pretty much just soured on them overall. But it would make the Lakers at least a little intriguing. Dallas is the other team that we're hearing a lot about. And then, like I said, trade deadline week. A lot of things are going to get shaken up. This is probably a good week if you follow the NBA closely, that you can run out and potentially target some super cheap guys for quick flips. If on a platform like COMC or something like that, or, you know, in the glory days of Star Stock, you know, or get ready to dig through your rookie boxes. If you have long boxes laying around with recent rookies in them, if one of them gets thrown in a deal, their prices might spike from the scrap heap to give you an exit opportunity. It's always a good time for that sort of stuff. We'll talk NBA a little bit more towards the end. Baseball. I'm going to touch on the Fantasy Baseball League. We are running one. I got that set up. I will save that to the very end of the video. So if you're interested in the Fantasy Baseball League, hang on till the very end of the video. We will talk about that then. Baseball prices are definitely creeping up. Once again, we'll talk about that when we get in the charts and graphs territory. Soto prices are creeping up heavily. Still a lot of demand for J-Rod. A lot of money is definitely filtering into baseball as we ramp up to February and March and spring training, and we have the World Baseball Classic to look forward to this year. Let's go ahead and dive into market movers, look at some charts and graphs, link in the description down below if you want to check that out. First up, the man, the myth, the legend, Brock Purdy. His base mosaic, we got to talk about it one last time, and then we'll put this to bed. $44. We all joked. We all laughed. Tons of people were buying it. It is now down 85% over the last 14 days to $7. And I honestly would expect this card to continue to go lower. It is a mosaic base card. It never had any business being anywhere close to the prices that it was selling for. It was right place, right time. And now 2022 wax turned right back into a pumpkin again. So as excited as people were getting to chase the 2022 wax, as excited as breakers were to price 49ers and pick your team, sorry about your luck. That is now pumpkin. The clock has struck midnight on the 2022 class once again. Does the market overcorrect on Purdy? Maybe. Could there be a window when you could sneak back in on the low and hope that, you know, he makes a return to glory and leads the 49ers once again? Anything is possible when Kyle Trask stuff goes nonsense because Tom Brady retired. That was the other big news of the week. Kind of buried the lead a little bit on that one. Tom Brady decided to hang it up. People are going to the beach to harvest the sand from where he stood, bottle it and sell it on eBay, because America, that's what we do here. We bottle sand. We go to Splash Mountain and capture water. The nonsense stuff that ends up on eBay just absolutely cracks me up. Brady stuff, a little bit of a bump, nothing crazy. 14 days. This is over the last 14 days. You do see some green. His PSA 10 Bowman Chrome up 15%. The 9 actually down slightly. And then the base up 27 and 22%. I would not be surprised if this is just a temporary spike and then it kind of cools back off again. It kind of reverts back to where it was and then just kind of lays low in the weeds and just kind of ticks along from now until basically forever, slowly creeping up, assuming that the market has relatively hit its bottom, at least for Brady stuff. We saw this play out last year in the exact same way. I don't expect the spike to peak forever. The question is, how long does the upswing last? And then how hard is the downswing on the back end? I don't think it'll be very hard, but this stuff will spike up a little bit and then probably pull back and then level out at whatever its new floor ends up being, and then just kind of chuck along from there. We see this all the time. I don't think Brady is an exception to this. Time will tell on that one. Next up, let's flip back and look at some of the Super Bowl quarterbacks for this upcoming week. Kicking things off with Jalen Hurts. I just went over the last 7 days. I was just curious how things have moved since the actual game. I'm recording this on Saturday evening. Optic Hollow up slightly. Everything else perfectly flat. His Silver Prism has not moved at all. His Green Prism, nice little color match there. One actually hasn't sold since the 29th. A bunch sold on the 29th, but none have sold since. And then his Field Level Silver also remains flat. So, as we talked about in yesterday's video, Hurts not getting a ton of love, even though he is on his way to the Super Bowl and probably the favorite. I think I've seen that line flip back and forth multiple times already throughout the week. So it could be back on the Chiefs again, but regardless, it's basically a coin flip at worst. Let's look at Mahomes stuff. Take a quick little glance once again over the last 7 days. I pulled a mix of his Optic and his Prisms. Optic base up just under 10%. Silver PSA 10 Prism about flat. PSA 9 Prism Silver up slightly. Optic Hollow 10 up slightly. Red and yellow down slightly. And the PSA 9 of his Optic Hollow base also up slightly. So generally speaking, Mahomes stuff up about 10%, give or take. As always with Patrick, especially his Prisms, be wary of shill bidding on those. Those are some of the most shill bidded cards in the history of eBay. It feels like his PSA 10 Silver Prism for a long time there was getting the old 1 feedback, 0 feedback winners left and right. That has calmed down a little bit, but it is still going on. I have that stuff filtered out here, so those things are not picking up on these particular charts and graphs. But just always keep that in mind if you are looking to buy Mahomes. Triple check those comps to make sure that they look clean. Nothing much to be said here. We'll see what happens with the game this week. We'll update things going in the next Sunday's game to see how the next 7 days approaches. Do these prices continue to tick up or do they flatten out? Is it going to take an actual Super Bowl win for Hurts stuff to spike? And then if so, how much does it spike, if at all? Is it going to depend on how he performs? If it's more of a team win versus a Hurts win, will that swing things greatly? If Hurts wins and balls out, does he see a huge spike? And then same thing with Mahomes. If he gets his second one, another Super Bowl MVP, does he see a big spike? And then is it temporary or does it actually hold? Like I've said in the past, a lot of time with these championship events, you actually see prices go down across the board on both sides. The other thing that I'll say is if you are selling this week, especially at auction, be wary ending things close to the game. A lot of people will bid and then wait until after the event to pay, or in some cases not pay. And, to be fair to the opposite side as well, because you do see some of this, sellers will pull some nonsense. They will have the auction end, maybe the prices spike after the game, and then all of a sudden this item is out of stock. I lost it, my dog ate it. Basically the reverse of the same excuses that buyers come up with when they want you to cancel their sale, except this time it would be the seller canceling. Regardless, there's always a lot of nonsense around these big events with buying and selling, so just kind of keep that in mind. That's another reason why I kind of like to sell right after the AFC and NFC championship games when it comes to these guys, or like same thing in the NBA. I like to move off of stuff during the conference finals because you avoid a lot more of that sort of nonsense. Let's pop over and look at baseball and basketball. Baseball is the one index that has really been moving up a lot lately. This is the Market Pulse in market movers. I'm looking at the last 60 days for ultra modern baseball, basketball, and modern baseball, which is 2010 to 2017. You can see basketball has essentially been flat over the last 60. It's been a little up and down. You see it did spike, pulled back, and kind of leveled back out again. Modern baseball is up 1.5%, and then ultra modern baseball 2018 to 2020. So this does not include 2022. So no J-Rod in this. But your Juan Sotos, your Acuñas, those sorts of guys fall into that ultra modern tier, and you are beginning to see a lot of price movement on those guys. Juan Soto specifically, this is his first Bowman. I went back to December 1st on this. PSA 10 is up 30%. PSA 9, only one is sold. BGS 9.5 up 20% in the last, that's just over 60 days, give or take. Soto stuff is really creeping up. You're seeing it too on his non-first Bowman stuff. I did the exact same range. This is going back to December 1st. Soto PSA 10 pink is up 44% from 475 to 700. His rainbow foil is up 5% to 460. And his Topps Gold PSA 10 out of 2018, numbered out of 2018, is up 25%. Historically, year after year, I tell myself this, and historically, year after year, I keep forgetting to actually act on it. Thanksgiving really feels like the bottom of the baseball market. I feel like time and time again, if you bought around Thanksgiving, that seems to be when prices start to tick up. Right after Thanksgiving, they very slowly creep up through December, and then they really ramp up in January. This is the second or third year in a row I remember this being a thing. And then around Thanksgiving, I always forget about it because I get distracted by a lot of other stuff. It's really, when you think about it, it makes a ton of sense. You're wrapped up because of the holidays. And then you're also, this past year, I got caught up in the zeitgeist of Black Friday sales with like wax and stuff like that. I was spending money left and right, but I was looking at that stuff and ignoring a lot of auctions and stuff ending on eBay for guys that I follow. I follow a lot of Soto auctions. I follow a lot of Acuña auctions, and they slip by the cracks because I was busy buying, the shiny thing over here. So this is really something that I just got to do better at going into next year in the off season, is pick those trendy names and really pay attention to price movements around that time of year. Let's hop over and talk basketball really quickly. Then we'll circle back to baseball and talk about the Fantasy Baseball League. So stay tuned for that. On the NBA side, I just wanted to take a quick little overview look over the last 60 days, just to kind of see where some of the big names in the NBA market have been. This is Zion Silver Prism, Ja Silver Prism, Luka Silver Prism, Tatum Silver Prism, and I had to throw my boy Donovan Mitchell Silver Prism, all PSA 10s on here. And no one has really gone up, but no one has really gone down besides Zion, and that's obviously injury related. He has been out for a while now, and still no set return date on his current injury. So his is down 20%, down to $713. Ja is clearly above him now, justifiably so. But the main superstars of the NBA of the ultra modern era, pretty flat. I didn't pull LaMelo, I didn't pull Edwards, I didn't look at the more recent guys. I wanted to go with the slightly more established. All things being equal, I actually kind of view this as a win. This is going back to the beginning of December, and these prices have stayed relatively flat, with really not a ton of focus being on the NBA from a card perspective. People have been chasing baseball in the run up to its season, and people have been chasing the playoff stuff when it comes to quarterbacks. And Super Bowl's about to be over. All eyes are going to spin towards the NBA as we ramp to the playoffs and baseball. So it'll be interesting to see how the end of the season closes out, but it was nice to see prices actually stabilize over a 60-day period. We have not really seen a ton of that, and that was with the holidays mixed in. The other thing I wanted to glance at really quickly as well, the Joker, Embiid, and Giannis, these are their base PSA 10s. I looked at base because their silvers in some cases are super rare and super expensive and don't transact a lot. But even these base prisms, with them being from 13, 14, and 15, tend to be a little bit lower population. Same time frame, Giannis is up ever so slightly at 5%, Embiid is up 10%, and Joker is up 50%. To me, the most shocking thing on here is the fact that an Embiid-based prism is only $165. That just seems wild to me that his base prism is only $165. I just did not expect that. I really didn't. Listen, Joker's fantastic. He justifiably has a legitimate shot for the NBA MVP this year, but I think it's going to be Embiid. I watched their head-to-head game the other day, and what a fantastic game that was to watch. Embiid, it is all about health, and I guess that must be keeping his prices down as well, because he is having a hell of a season. A hell of a season. My preseason prediction was Nuggets and Sixers to win their respective conferences. Not going to lie, I feel really good about both those right now. Giannis has been playing absolutely out of his mind as well. I think he just had like another over 50 point game this week. The Bucks have just been way more up and down this season. They've been really plagued with injuries. Hopefully, for my sake as a Cavs fan, that they can continue to play all over the place and not get it together before the NBA playoffs. We'll see what happens there. Big NBA week with the NBA trade deadline. One of my absolute favorite weeks of the year. I love NBA Twitter /rumor mill /woj bombs /shams tweets. Absolutely my favorite time of year for the NBA. Maybe we'll do a little post NBA trade deadline video on Friday. Or if it's a while, maybe we'll just go live on Thursday and just chat for a little bit. We'll see. So, for the regular portion of the video, that is all I have for you guys and girls. So we will catch you on the next one. If you are interested in the Fantasy Baseball League, hang around, and we are going to talk about that very quickly. Okay, if you are still here, you are at least mildly interested in Fantasy Baseball, we are going to do this on Underdog again. I will link to all this in the description of the video and maybe also put a pinned comment as well. It is going to be at least the first one, and we can do as many of these as people are interested in filling. I'm going to do one, see how quickly it fills, and then I can easily post another one, which different people could jump in or the same people can jump in again. It's going to be on Underdog. It will be a best ball league. Underdog is available most places, but there are some state restrictions where they are not available. So double check that before you sign up. It'll usually stop you and not let you deposit money and things like that if you're in one of the states that can't participate. It'll be a $5 league, 12 teams. It's best ball. It's a slow draft. You join the draft. Once the league fills, make sure you have notifications on. You'll get a notification from the app saying the draft is starting, and then each team has 8 hours to make a pick. So doesn't matter when the draft starts. It doesn't matter when someone makes their pick. Everyone has plenty of time to do what they need to do. That's the reason why I like using this format. And the other reason I like it is it's best ball. If you're not familiar with that, you do not need to set a lineup every single day. It just automatically takes your players, pulls whoever scored the best at each individual position for the week. Infielder, outfielder, pitcher. Takes the best, however many, I forget how many we start. I think it's 3 or 4 at each spot. Takes the 3 or 4 guys that scored the most points for that week and inserts them into the lineup. That's the gist of best ball. Like I said, it'll be $5 a person. And then there will be a code down below for a deposit match. In addition to Underdog doing all this nonsense, and even if you're not interested in a best ball baseball league, they are a daily draft website where you could go in and just draft a team for an individual day for football, basketball, and baseball, among other things. So you can check out the platform for that as well. But the link and the code that I will post will give you a deposit match, I believe up to $50. So if you put in 10, you will get 10 back in site credit as well to play around with. Like I said, we will do one of these. There will be a link to sign up if you've never used Underdog before with the code. If you are already an Underdog user, maybe you played in the basketball league, then there will also be a direct link to just join the league, pay your $5 and you're in. And then, like I said, the draft will launch going from there once it is full. So you guys and girls get first crack. I posted it in my Discord first, and then I am posting it in this video. I will give this a couple days for you to get in there, and then I will probably make a community post to post about it on Twitter and all the other places to try to get the league full if it doesn't fill based off of this. So keep all that in mind. Like I said, if this fills up super fast, cool. I'll do another one and I'll let everybody know about it. If it doesn't fill at all, which there is a risk of that, there was at least a decent amount of interest in the video that I first mentioned this on. But if for some reason it doesn't fill at all, I'll cancel the draft. You'll get your $5 back, and you can just use it for daily leagues or whatever the case might be. And then I do plan on doing this again for football once those things start rolling out. Probably wait till after the NFL draft for that. So that is all I have for you, boys and girls. Look for the links down below, and we will catch you, guys and girls, on the next one. Look forward to drafting against you all. Peace.